Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening to all the online students also. Am I audible? Visible? All right. So, welcome to this mathematics workshop. Though I can't justify really the word workshop, I don't know what we're going to do here with which is going to be work oriented. But I'm mostly trying to cater to the kind of questions you may have about choosing maths as an optional. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Bhavna Khurana, and I take mathematics optional here at Vajiram and Ravi. I've had about 22 years of teaching experience and catering to UPSC students for the last 10, 15 years. I'm a pass out from IIT Delhi, and thereby I would try and tell you that why you should choose maths. That's the first question. And how maths can help you in a sort of why should you take maths, because everyone knows that there's no overlap between maths and GS, right? Even then there are people who are opting for it. So the subject of course has been doing well, but that should not be the reason why you choose maths, because every subject will have some representatives in the result finally, right? So you have to decide whether maths is for you or not. How is maths as a subject, as an optional, is what I'll introduce. And then if you have any questions, then I'll be answering those questions. Is that clear? So first of all, let's begin by talking a bit about what this maths optional is like. As you all know, optional paper is the only paper that you actually have a choice in. Everybody has to study GS. It's not like a choice that you have. And in GS, you have to study everything, so whatever is the syllabus. For prelims, for CSAT, you have to study everything that is the syllabus. Optional is the only thing as it's called optional. In fact, it's a very funny joke that actually happened. One of my friends who's not from India, and she asked me, "What are you doing?" And I told her, "I'm teaching optional." That's how we talk to each other. The lingo has. She asked me very innocently, "If it's optional, why are you choosing it? Why are you teaching it?" So optional in that sense, it's not like an optional thing. It is what we call as a better word for optional would have been specialization. So there is general studies that everybody does, and then you choose to specialize in something. Now, you can't actually overnight specialize in a subject. So, especially in mathematics, let me restrict my talking to about what maths is. So nobody can force a mathematics optional on someone. So if you're one of those who took maths in class 11, 12, thinking that it's a good subject, and you didn't really have any liking for it, then this is not the subject for you. You have to have a genuine passion for the subject, And a few people who are nodding right now, do you guys have genuine interest in mathematics and you understand when I say that there are questions which make you happy when you finally get the answer, even though they may be very so as to say ugly looking, like they should go on and on and on for 2-3 pages, and suddenly you get the answer and it matches to the T. Like, some of the answers could look horrific. 1289 minus 1 to the power of n, pi, sine nx, minus something. I mean, I can write down whatever. Imagine if you're doing some question for about 10-15 minutes and your answer finally starts looking exactly the same. Or the other way around. Suppose everything is matching except either 1289 ki bajai you're getting a 1280. Can you understand the frustration one feels like, but you don't give up. You try it once more. Am I right? Have you done maths like that? Or have you read maths from anywhere? We keep reading maths or we keep doing maths? Yeah. So even a small question that I ask you, you will need your pen and paper. So we all are like those, you are like semi-mathematicians, and because semi-mathematicians are people who've been doing maths for some time. So class 11, 12, you had maths. Graduation, you must have some representative of maths, okay? It's not okay if you have not done maths at college level. Even though I don't take it for granted, I don't say that you must have done it in college, so we don't do it. We will do everything, but you need to have a bridge. If someone has done maths till class 12th and then after 3-4 years decides to take maths optional, then the gap of those 3-4 years creates an imbalance. You are not used to writing it so much. You are not used to thinking about on the spot. You're not used to thinking about, for example, integration. There can be many ways of doing integration. Now, why does one do partial fractions? Why does one do Eilert rule? These are the things which I think are now inherent in us if you have done well in class 11, 12th and in college. That's the reason why I would urge you to choose maths optional only if you have had maths in college. So whether it is maths honors or eco honors, because eco and maths also have a very high correlation between the two. Even BCom honors with maths, that is. So you've done some amount of calculus, okay? Or if you're an engineer, Engineering background, even if you've had 1 or 2 papers, like there are different engineering things, you know, some of them have maths in every semester and some of them only choose some electives, but you've had electives. So if you've been in touch with maths and you have a genuine passion for it, then this is a subject for you. uh, can you hear me now? Am I audible without voice breaking? Because somebody is all right. um, can you hear me all right? People who are, yeah, all right. So basically, you have to have a genuine passion for it. Now, let me tell you, why do you need a genuine passion? Because it is a 7-month program. Okay, it takes all your effort. In fact, I always say in my classes that the classes always happen in 2 shifts. One shift is when you attend the class with me. The second shift is what you do at home. There is always a homework. You know, it is like school maths, right? Can you do maths only when a classroom is being, like, whatever is being taught in the classroom? No. There was always homework when you went back home. And similarly here, you have to go back home and work on it. There'll be similar practice questions. There are previous year questions. In fact, there are some branches of maths that are there in your curriculum where after every class, when I tell my students to go back and look at the PYQs, they are able to pinpoint from 15 to 20 to 25 mark worth of questions from that particular lecture. And that does not happen in too many optionals, because if it's a subjective optional, you cannot say there'll definitely be a question. For example, if you say there'll always be a question, say on environment in geography, but that's a very generic statement. That's what will be the question, you can't predict. In maths, you can actually look at the previous year question papers and see that there is so much of a pattern between the papers. In fact, just before coming for this session here, I was doing some work for the test series, and I was looking at an online I had actually someone else look for it, but we were looking at an online editor for comparing 2 PDFs. You know, if you go back home and do something similar, so if you analyze previous 5-year papers, you will realize there's a lot of, I wouldn't call it repetition, there is a lot of topic based repetition. There is definitely going to be, say, a question on Euler's method and differential equation. There is definitely going to be a question on separation of variables. There is definitely going to be a question from simplex method. There is going to be a question from, if it is from group theory, then it can be fundamental theorem, it can be homomorphism, linear algebra. Every year there are questions on basis, dimension, etc., etc. So there is a lot of overlapping between the topics. That makes it quite foolproof, because then we don't have to run in every direction. We have to only focus on what definitely is the demand of the paper. Okay, having said that, when I teach, I also teach for the love of maths. So you have to know all your maths, because we can't only base our classes on previous year question papers. There is a very important component called future year questions. What can come in the exam? And there's no guesswork here, because it's a static syllabus, because it's a technical paper. Whatever is the periphery of the syllabus can also be asked, and that also then gets done in the classes. And so it is a very how do I say it, very comprehensive, complete course. It tells you how your preparation can be even after the classes get over. So you wouldn't need anything beyond the 7 months, except for, of course, you would need practice. I mean, there is no two ways about it. Previous year question papers also will be happening in the class, and so on and so forth. So let me again accentuate on what I was talking about, that choosing a correct optional is very, very important. A lot of teachers and a lot of students also can boast about that there's an overlap between GS. I think not having any overlap with GS is actually a good thing, if you know what I mean. Are you sometimes overwhelmed with the amount of information you have to remember? Remember the facts, remember the dates, remember this, remember that. In maths, I think people who like maths, do you like maths, all of you? Yeah, so we are like a tribe, okay? I can't say this to normal people outside. In fact, I mean, we are normal, but we are like maths normal. You know what I mean? That only we can understand what I'm saying, that even if you're exhausted, but there is a very interesting question that's come up and very doable, and you know the trick and everything. If you sit down to do it, sometimes 1 or 2 hours will go and you will not even feel exhausted. So if the concept is clear, and that is where I come in, I think, okay, if I clarify the concept, if I also help you recognize the question in the exam, that can you recognize which category this is, so therefore what's the procedure, and you have clarity about the procedure, then there is nothing that stops you from doing. In fact, it's very funny sometimes in my classes when I'm teaching something, after they have understood a bit of it, they start writing. They don't even pay attention to what I'm saying. You know, I have to tell them, stop, look at me, and then we go forward. Because once you get it, you know, it's like once the ball is in your court, once you know, okay, now it has to be integrated, or Then you start doing it without even paying attention to what is happening in the class. So you almost become oblivious of what is happening around you. If that's the kind of passion you have for the subject, then maths is going to do wonders for you, because it will give you a break from your GS. It is a very technical paper, so you'll be able to pinpoint this is important, this is not. And not just me, you will help me analyze what the previous year question papers are like. So it's a very interesting, it's not even a lecture, it is more an interactive kind of a session. I love my maths, you love the maths, and so we do it together. A lot of information you already know. I think everybody should be able to know. So let me, before going into the syllabus, everybody should know, what am I writing on the board? Differentiation, right? So if you have time, you can obviously open up any class 12 book or something. And if you think like, no, I don't have so much time, at least have a differentiation formula sheet ready. You can call it as differentiation formula sheet. So whenever you have to refer to it, you can refer to it, because 10% of maths that has to be crammed is only the formulae that have to be remembered. And that also with practice becomes better and better and better. Differentiation you have to know. You have to also know your integration, right? All of it. That means trigonometric, inverse trigonometric, partial fractions, Eilert rule, all the rules that you can think of. I can see most of you already nodding. You know this, right? It's just that, so the question is not going to be direct integration. It's going to boil down to integration. That is our work. We'll learn it together. After it has to be just integrated, the ball is in your court. You can do it, and then I can. Is that clear to everybody? What else you need to know from your school? This is school level. I'm not even talking about college level. Matrices and determinants. You know, so for example, determinant, I think in school would be about a 3x3 matrix. But if I give you a 4x4 matrix, you should not shy away from trying how a 4x4 matrix determinant will be calculated. These are the things you are supposed to know. When you come for the classes, I'll ask you, what is a determinant? Not how a determinant is calculated. Please focus on what I'm saying. How to calculate it, you know. Do you know how to calculate? If I write down some, I don't know, 2, 3, 1, 0 or something, and I say calculate, everybody should be able to do it. But we will discuss about what is it, not how it is calculated, you know. And what is a determinant? Anyone has an answer to this? Let's make it more interactive. What is a determinant? Now, when I'm saying what is a determinant, you cannot say how it's calculated. You have to tell me what is it. It is the number which is associated with every square matrix. You know, you cannot calculate determinant for 2x3 matrices. You cannot calculate it for m cross n, therefore only for n cross n. And there is a fixed formula through which it is calculated. That's the definition of determinant. Now comes uses of determinants. Not like we have to write a paragraph, but you have to wonder why determinant is such an important topic. Because any system of equations that we have to solve, which can be solved by, for example, if I just write down x plus y equal to 3 and x minus y is equal to 2, everybody knows how to solve it. But suppose we have to ask a computer to solve it. Now, computer doesn't have a brain of its own. You have to write a program for it. When you write a program for 2, he should be able to extrapolate and do it for 10 also. You should be able to do it for 15 also. For that, you need a structure. See, if I write down 2 here, I write down 5 here, and I just give you this question, everybody's technique will be slightly different. Somebody can, let's discuss what are the ways in which you can teach this to a school child, okay? Class 9th, 10th, whatever. You know, you can do what is called a substitution. What is y equal to from the first equation? 3 minus 5x. Am I making sense? You can substitute here, it becomes an equation in x, you can solve for it. That's method number 1. What is method number 2? You can make the coefficients same, add. So that means what I'm saying is that each one of us will have a different procedure. But what did I tell you? If the computer has to do it, he needs to have one procedure through which he does every question. He is not smart enough to decide which method has to be done. If you have to write a program, and that I think would resonate with everyone. You understand we need computers, we need technology, we need, for that we need the background. And the background actually comes from a fixed procedural way to solve it. Procedural way to solve it will be that computer would translate it into a AX equal to B kind of a system. Instead of solving, first we will analyze whether it can be solved or not. And imagine, I know it's just 2 equations and 2 variables, but imagine if there are 15 variables and 79 equations. And the computer wastes time to calculate it, whereas it has no solution. So the first and foremost question that we have to answer is whether there is a solution or not. Once it does not have a solution, your procedure stops. If it has a solution, your procedure has to go ahead and find that particular solution. So our questions change when we do it in optional. We know how to do it. We can also solve it. So that is not where you need my help. You need the help in understanding the concept behind it, so that any question under the sun that comes from that particular topic becomes doable. Another example I'll give you. You know, when you do integration, till now everybody knows how to integrate. Even if I write out a little slightly complicated function, you would take some time and still be able to get me the value of the integral. Am I right? But now the question is not going to be what is the integral. The question is going to be, can this function be integrated? Then we come to what is the meaning of it being integrated, right? Okay, we can integrate, but what does it really mean to get it integrated? Correct. So it's about area under the curve. And when you talk about area under the curve, you know, area can also come out to be 0, but we can also, when we say area, it sounds like a geometric thing. How can area be? So we see when do we take positive, when do we take negative, how the signs are. And so I think the syllabus is really interesting because it has a lot of tools of mathematics, but tools correctly applied only with concepts in mind. So here we'll be discussing the concepts. You will also be doing questions, of course, but you need to be prepared with the tools that are required to do well in maths, which comprise of basic calculus, like I said, differentiation, integration, integral, matrices, determinants. If you know just this much, then I'll be able to guide you through the entire syllabus. All right. So Rajesh, let me clarify. Here I'm going to take 7 months to finish the syllabus. But when I say 7 months, I will cover the syllabus from A to Z. So there is nothing in between. If you want to do it in 4 to 5 months, I don't know how you'll do it because the classes will go on till 7 months. Of course, I try and do the difficult topics right now. For example, the first topic that we'll be beginning with. Okay, before I tell you the first topic we'll begin with, do you have an idea of the syllabus, everybody? Have you looked at the syllabus? Yeah. So I hope everyone has, because, and the formatting is, there is paper 1, like is true for any optional, paper 2. This is 250 marks. This is also 250 marks. You have total 13 topics which are divided between these two. Okay. As is the case for every optional, there is a section B and there is also a section B. Section A, section B here. There is a section A, section B. Okay, here in paper 1, you have the first topic is linear algebra. Okay, and the first topic here is modern algebra. Modern algebra comprises of group theory and ring theory. Okay, and linear algebra comprises of vector spaces. So these are actually the algebra topics. You don't have to study them as paper 1 topic first and then we'll do paper. No, not at all. You have to study similar topics simultaneously. Is that clear? And so you have to do both the algebras together. Then comes the next few topics. So this is the first. Second here is called calculus. And this one is called real analysis. Now look at what a beautiful syllabus it is. Because real analysis and calculus is just one and the same thing. Can anyone tell me what is calculus? You know some branches that come under calculus? Yeah, there's differential calculus, integral calculus, But my question is, what is the primary word behind calculus? Calculus is coming from the word calculations. Anything that has to be calculated, like a limit, like a continuity, differentiation, partial derivative, anything comes under calculus. What is real analysis? It's the theory of why it can be done. So very similar, because this one is how does the sequence converge, for example, and this one is how is the limit calculated. Calculated comes under calculus. So we study real analysis and calculus together, which by the way is going to be our first topic with you guys, because it comes, as you can see, in both the papers. Each topic is roughly 50 marks. So this covers 100 marks. And there are 2 pillars on which the entire maths, not just UPSC maths, entire maths is based only on 2 papers. You know what the 2 papers are? One is algebra and the other one is analysis. If you do algebra and you do analysis, you've covered everything that is there to be covered in maths. Partial differential equations. It is part of your calculating differentiation, integration. So it comes under calculus. It also comes under real analysis. Can the solution be found? Is the solution finite? Is the solution going to give you a stable answer? You know, so all that. Any topic you pick up, it will come under this. So let me write down the entire syllabus before we discuss further. This one has third topic as analytic geometry. Analytic geometry has cone, cylinder, right? Plane, straight lines, and then conicoid, second order. So this is what the syllabus, just that. This is basically your first section, okay? Everyone knows the format of the paper, right? You know, question number 1 has 5 parts, which are compulsory. And so from section A, question number 1 has 5 questions. 2 can come from linear algebra, 1 from here, and 2 from here. Out of those 5, you have to do all 5. Question number 1 is compulsory. Then you have question number 2, 3, and 4, which can have 3 parts or 4 parts, and obviously they are divided amongst this. So nowadays there is no way you can leave out any topic, because each question is a combination question. Question number 2 will have 1 question from here, 1 question from here, 1 question from here. It's possible. Question number 3 will have 2 questions from here, 1 question from here. Question number 4 can be again divided like that. So you have to, but it's only these 3 topics. Is that clear? Coming to, there is a third topic here, which is basically linear programming. Are you aware of what linear programming is all about? Have you done linear programming before? So linear programming is, so as you can see now, let me just show you why I love your syllabus, because see this. Linear. Can you see the word linear? There has to be a connection between the two. It can't be, oh, this is one paper, this is one paper. We don't do it like that. We do it in a very constrained sort of a manner. We put the syllabus in a circle, and we understand how one topic can be related to another, so that it's easier to manage the syllabus. Okay, if you look at it all separately, then you're going to be overwhelmed. We don't do that. Linear programming is a very interesting branch of mathematics. It's actually a branch of operational research, where, you know, we want to maximize or minimize an output, which is linear in nature. So suppose there's a factory and we're trying to manufacture shirts and trousers or something, and we want to obviously maximize the profit. You also know maximizing the profit is same as minimizing the loss. So there is a dual problem of every problem, right? And there are some constraints. I can't just maximize my profit. There are some constraints, like I can only make the labor that is there can work for a specific number of hours. Electricity is only this much. Capital is only this much. So it's a very practical kind of a paper. Very, very interesting. And every year, short 20, 30 marks from you. Like it's that simple. If you don't do careless mistakes, of course, then this is really marks in your pocket kind of a syllabus. Okay. The fourth here is called, do you know what I'm writing now? Complex analysis. You know which word I'm going to circle here? Analysis, because this is also analysis, isn't it? So now you see how so you know real analysis, once we do limit, continuity, differentiability in real, you have to extend it to complex. A lot of it is extension. A lot of it is new. If there are two things, you have to learn the similarities and you have to appreciate the differences between the two. If you do the syllabus like that, it is very, very smoothly done. Is that clear to all of you? So coming to section B here. Section B has 3 topics. This one is ordinary differential equations. And this one is, do you see how beautiful your syllabus is? Ordinary here, partial here. Yeah? This morning shift, afternoon shift. When you give the exam, this will happen in the morning, and the second paper after a 2-hour break will happen in the afternoon. So you'll have to give PD here. This is vector analysis. You know which word? Analysis. In fact, this is vector analysis or calculus. There's no clarity. It's both. You have to calculate also, you have to understand also, right? So there is vector calculus and analysis. Here, of course, there is numerical analysis. Can you see the word analysis here? So I wasn't exaggerating when I said there are 2 branches, right? Algebra and analysis. That's it. So if you tell somebody that I've done algebra, I've done analysis, and you're sorted. Your syllabus is done. Because these are the 2 primary pillars, at least the basics. Maximum time goes into only learning this. OD as such, doing the methods is not difficult at all. It's quite a cakewalk. PD also similar. Doing it will take about 10 classes, 11, not more than that. Algebra takes me a lot of classes. Takes me about 30 classes or something. Real analysis calculus will also take me about 30 classes. So every topic has equal sort of number of marks, but they don't need our equal amount of attention. What requires attention will be given attention to. What requires practice, you will be asked to practice. Is that clear to everybody? Coming to the last topic of both of them is basically physics. There is statics and dynamics here. There is again mechanics and fluid dynamics here. Okay, so both are physics. There are 2 topics each in both of them. And I'll be telling you how we're going to cater to the physics topics also. Okay, but first let me talk about the maths. Like I said, all the 11 maths topics I'll be doing. Okay, and I'll be taking together with the physics thing, we will take 7 months to do it. Not a day more. I mean, I'm sorry, I could take a week more, okay? Because sometimes but just a week. Although I try to actually finish it earlier, it's plus minus 7 days. Because sometimes, when you're going in a flow, then you end up doing more questions in the class, which is also good for you because it gives you more confidence, right? So 7 months actually is the duration of the program, including the physics topics. We will, like I said, be starting with real analysis and calculus in the beginning. And once you enroll, you will know a rough idea of how it's going to be done. For example, after real analysis and calculus, I'll do vector analysis because it's required for physics. Then I'll do geometry because geometry also has a lot of overlap with this kind of a thing, right? After that, I'll be doing, or maybe in the beginning, just maybe we can do sometime in between when it gets heavy, we could do linear programming. It gives you a break from all the heavy stuff that is happening. And then we'll do complex analysis. We'll come back to algebra then. Once we have done with algebra, we'll do OD and then we'll do finally PDE. That's going to be the order. So towards the end, we are not going to leave heavy topics. We'll do analysis right now. We'll do algebra about 3 months down the line. And later on, we'll be doing ODE, PD. The booklets and all will be given to you. So I wanted to show you how the classes, the timing of the classes is going to be 7:30 to 10:30. It's 7:30 to 10. But let's prepare ourselves for 10:30, okay? Because sometimes, again, when we are doing a question, I don't want to terminate it. So let's have 5, 10, 15 minutes of buffer time. For each of the topics that you have, you will get these booklets. So there are about 11 to 13 booklets you will be getting. They're all handwritten notes, as you can see. And so this is it in the sense that and so I'll show you the length. I'm carrying 2 booklets to show you. So for ODPD, for example, the book that is recommended is Rising Hania, MD Rising Hania. Go to the market if you've not already got scared. Please go to the market or just search online. There are about 800 pages of the book. You have to do only about 4-5 chapters. But it's very overwhelming to look at the book. So for your convenience and for mine, because you can't do 800 pages in one topic in the class. So there are these, this is the length of the booklet. This is about 130 pages booklet, just that. But it covers all the basics. What does it cover? It covers each topic. It covers 2-3 questions of each topic. It also gives you a practice list. What are the questions you should do? And then once a week or once in 10 days, we keep a tutorial session. Tutorial session is where you come with your doubts of all the assignments, PYQs. Every day, my students are going back and doing PYQs, each and every single day. So when I teach Euler's today, I tell them, go back and for the last 10 years, whatever Euler's question you have got in the exam, you have to try them out today. Keep your doubts ready so that 10 days later when we have, because in 10 days, when I'm teaching something continuously, your doubts also seem to evaporate because better clarity keeps coming. After 10 days, when we keep a tutorial, somebody says, okay, do question number 29. Somebody says question number 5. We discuss it and then we are sorted about it. Clear? For your own doubts and all, there is also a group on Telegram where you could join. It's a closed group only for doubts, so that, suppose somebody has missed something, somebody is not clear with some integration or something that's small, then you can get it. So this is going to be the timing for the classes. And like I said, it's going to, yeah, but so you can, if you're already enrolled in some batch in GS, which is 7:30 to 10:30, then they'll change your batch. Or of course, the other option is that there is this online thing, right? Either you could then just watch videos, even though I would prefer if you can come offline. I'm actually talking to you guys right now. Offline is always better. I mean, I can't really pinpoint why, because online students also, when you write your doubts, I will be catering to it. But still, it's like I said, it's hardly a lecture. It is more like an interactive thing. For half an hour, I'm teaching. After that, you're doing. I might just come for a round and also check how you're writing. Because you're writing a presentation matters a lot, which is the second point I was going to come to. But let me explain. Standard books, the list is uploaded on the Vajiram's website. But to be very honest, and I'll be very candid here, there is no time to look at the booklets right now. So you don't need to look at the booklets. If anyone has to look at the books, I have to look at them. So for example, this year's mains, when it comes, if it has something which is not being covered, then that topic, weighing the risk involved, suppose there's a topic which takes 7 days to teach and hardly any question can come from here, then we will not do it right now, right? There's no point. Then we can just do one question as an aberration and then forget about it. Okay, so you don't have to go through any books. You will just, the booklets are more than enough. Okay, first, can I comment on the physics thing? Then I'll come to the presentation. Okay, remind me to talk about it. For the physics topics, we have another faculty here, my colleague, who's also from IIT Delhi. He's my senior, in fact, for that matter, and he's into JEE coaching, and he's going to, and beautiful physics booklets have got prepared. They're brand new. So till last year, we had handouts and everything, but this year we have worked. We means I'm fully involved with it. Okay, so the notes are typed in a way that I like. So what do I like? I like categories. What is type 1, what is type 2, what is, so that students can recognize the question in the exam and then do it in that fashion. So he'll be taking about 20 to 25 classes to cover the physics portion, and the physics portion will be done from the scratch, like starting from what is a rigid body, what is a force. However, you have to understand why physics is there in the maths syllabus, because predominantly it is about the maths, not about the physics. 2 lines of physics, after that it will either be vector analysis or some differential equation, or which you would have already been empowered with, because I would have taught that to you. So remember to do physics only from maths perspective. You're not here to do PhD either in maths or in physics. You have to be successful in the exam. So demand of the exam, whatever it is, we'll be doing 100% of that. Okay, but you can't run after everything. When is the batch starting? It is starting end of September, 27th of September. You can check the timings and everything, fees and all. You can please check on this thing. Coming to what I wanted to explain in terms of the presentation. See, you're taught, right, that GS presentation is important. There is an opening and there's a body and then you conclude. In maths, people don't know that there's a presentation required, because you guys, when I mean you guys, I don't mean you specifically, but you are my population and I'm talking about the sample. So any student that I've dealt with who for the first time, without attending my classes, say in my test series, writes a test, their answers may be correct, but they're pathetic to read. Who is the examiner? You tell me. Who do you think is examining your sheets? It is some professor, some lecturer from some university, some nice, good universities, IITs, etc. There's a good team of 3-4 people who are going to work on your sheets, right? Now, you write a paper in 3 hours, correct? In how many hours do you think examiner is going to check it? Is he or she also going to devote 3 hours in checking your sheet? How much time do you think? 20 minutes, 45 minutes? For me, for example, it takes me about 45 minutes to 1 hour, because what I have to do, if your answer, and I'm talking from experience, a sheet that I just checked today, the answer was supposed to be 848. Okay, this person that I'm talking about has got a 670. Clearly, the answer is wrong, and so you just put a cross and you are allowed to move ahead. However, because a machine is not checking your answer, a human being is, he or she will have to glance at what your presentation is. If you have written everything properly, for example, if it was a linear programming question, you have said that this is, or instead of this is, you will write down, we need artificial variables, say x3 and x4 greater than equal to 0, such that their cost in the objective function is minus m, where m is, I'm just trying to show you that if you've interacted in your sheet, if I can see what you're doing, if your procedure looks almost correct, then I may give you some marks. If you have not written anything about it, for example, the question is on independence, dependence. You just start off, I will write down the matrix, this is 0, therefore independent. It's very blunt. You cannot not have a presentation in your answers. Each maths answer is also supposed to have a presentation. In fact, you are supposed to write down, what am I writing right now? Given. This is like decode the language now, because the question is written in English. You have to pick up the stuff that is given from here, then what you have to show, and then suppose you're proving something, for example, you write down the proof. Let us assume, or if you proceed by contradiction, you do it by induction hypothesis. What is the maths is about tools that are available to us, which have to be then used to prove your question or get the solutions. Clear? So you have to work on presentation. Now, this is a joke that I crack. I hope because you're new, you're not smiling so much. So I would first of all request you to settle down a bit. You're listening too seriously. But I'm saying that, for example, I tell my students in a very funny way, in a jokingly sort of a manner, that okay, for presentation, we can have another batch. You can join answer writing program for mathematics. And then I ask them, do you want to join? And they're like, no. So this is, then I tell them like a marketing gimmick that, oh, this is free of cost, for you guys. So for me, actually, more than concepts, for me, both are related. If you are okay with your concepts, you cannot write wrong because you understand why that question is being done like that. And therefore, you give importance to it. Writing a lemma, for example. Do you guys know what a lemma is? Anyone sitting here? Anyone online who knows what a lemma is? It's a theorem, but why is it called a lemma then? Yeah. So it's not, so to paraphrase that, it's not based on a theorem. There is a main theorem you are trying to prove. For that, some other theorem is also being used. A supporting theorem is called a lemma. What is the deduction, for example? When you do a theorem, then from here you can deduce something. So it becomes a deduction. Or it becomes a, what am I writing here? Corollary. And you'll see the chain. Theorem is the main thing, but it takes the help of a lemma. Now, if you take help of somebody, very honestly, if you take help of somebody, you need to acknowledge it. If you were writing a PhD thesis or something, you're supposed to write down, these are the people who helped me. Theorem you are writing, you have to write lemma, isn't it? Now, what is the lemma? How is to be written? How it is to be presented? Forms a very, very, very important aspect of how your marking is going to happen. You want to know how marking happens in your paper? Yeah. So let me show you how marking happens. So there is this sheet that will be given to you. There'll be a margin. You're not supposed to write a margin and all that. If it is a, so there are two kind of questions, of course. Suppose we are looking at an applied question, which is almost 60% of your syllabus. So I'm talking about OD, PD, LPP, numerical analysis, vector analysis to quite some extent. Physics also. Most of it is get the answer. Find. Then what you do is, examiner will look at your final answer, provided he can locate where your final answer is. You just keep writing and then stop writing. Don't do that. Whatever is your answer, like make a box out of it so that the examiner can straight go to it. Is that clear? He looks at the answer. For example, 848 should have been the answer, and it's a 10 marker. The examiner is going to put a tick because the answer is correct. Putting a tick, does that mean you're going to get a 10 on 10? Absolutely not. The marks that you'll get now can vary from anywhere from 0 to 10. Anywhere from 0. He can also put a tick mark and say, no, but presentation is absolutely bizarre, absolutely pathetic. You've just done some calculations, cut it out, and then by chance you've got the answer. He may just give you a 0. If you think this is a little bit of exaggeration, okay, then he'll give you about 2 to 10. When will you do what? How much do you want? Do you want 2 or do you want 10? 10, because you got the correct answer. There's no point losing any marks here. Then your presentation has to be absolutely perfect. How do you learn perfect presentation? Number one, by writing. You can write, you can show me your answer. But others, some people are like, how do I write? That's what I don't know. And that's why these books come into picture. Maths is a static syllabus. Even though I've taken the trouble of writing these handwritten notes. Why do you think these are handwritten? Because trying to tell you how you would write, how the given will be, how the to show, how to use the page properly, instead of just writing one after the other and not getting any answer or getting confused. There is a space constraint also given to you. So all that will happen simultaneously in the class. In about 3 months, you'll become an expert about how to present the answer, no matter which answer you're talking about. It's not subject specific, it's not topic specific. If, however, if it was an applied paper and your answer is 640, which is not a correct answer, the examiner would put a cross. Do you think now he gives you a 0? No. You can still steal anywhere from 0 to 5 marks from him. Steal means your answer is wrong. You know the answer is gone. But step marking means if you've written it in steps. So a very favorite question of students is, ma'am, is there step marking? You know what's my answer? Have you written in steps? Examiner is not supposed to find where are the steps. He is not your friend. He is not Bhavna ma'am also. He's not trying to encourage you to clear the exam. If you have written, so you know what is my style of writing? Step number 1. step number 2. I also teach like this. So there are these steps that you have to follow. So in case the examiner is checking your sheet, he will also look at the steps, put a tick mark because it's correct. Step 2 is also correct. Step 3 suppose happens to be wrong. Now you tell me human nature. If I have put 2 ticks here, am I going to, and last answer is wrong. But 2 ticks have already come because it's, do you understand? It is very natural. If I'm checking something and if it's correct up to a level, are you there with me? It's correct up to a level. Aren't you tempted to put a tick mark? Once you have put 2 or 3 tick marks in an answer, are you able to give a 0 to that particular person? No. You will steal up to 5 marks out of 10 you can get, even if your answer is not correct. The problem is when everyone writes, they just write, they don't even write the way I'm writing. I don't know how to write badly actually. That I have learned from you, or I'll learn from you. I don't know, because they don't even say this much. I say integrating both sides, differentiate. What are you doing? Tell the examiner. Talk to him through your sheet, because you are not present. If you are not present, your sheet has to talk. Otherwise, how does he know what you have written? So let us do this, let us do that. Let us now calculate. Let us calculate, say, the particular integral, or whatever you're doing. Tell the examiner what you're doing, no? And then write down. So, but if you write everything in one go without having any sort of a demarcation, then examiner is not going to spend any time on your sheet. Final answer not matching, he puts across and says, I can't find out anything that he's written. And a lot of students do this. They write down something, and then there's this, and then put an arrow, and then write down, sorry, please check this, and all. We don't have time, sorry. The examiner is, like I said, he's neither your enemy nor your friend. He's not trying to cut marks, but he's also not trying to give you marks. You have to make sure your answer is promising enough to get marks from you. Let me remind you that when you have a humanities-based paper, you know the checking is ruthless. Like out of 10, you can't get more than 6 or 7. That's also on the higher end. In maths, you can get a 10 on 10. You can get a 20 on 20. Can you imagine a sure shot 20 on 20 whose answer you just know how to write down all the steps? There is no way on earth examiner can cut even 1 mark from there. And that is what you have to do in your sheet. Have you understood? You have to reach that level in 80% of the syllabus. Even then 20%, if you don't know properly, it's okay. Because there are 2 ways to get 80%. One is you do the entire paper, but you make so many mistakes that you don't know what you have done. Other is, okay, I don't know 1 or 2 questions, fine, no problem. But everything else that I have written, examiner is forced to write down a good there. I have written it so well that the examiner not only puts a tick, he also ends up writing, wow, what an answer. And that is answer writing presentation. Do you understand? This is an inbuilt thing. For marketing, I could say this is free of cost and stuff, but I don't know any other way to teach. I have to be very organized for you to learn it. Then you have to learn how to be organized so that the examiner can just see that, oh my God, this guy has really written it in very, steps wise and everything, and gives you marks and moves ahead. Please let the examiner spend less time on your sheet, not more. If he has to dig to find the answer, he'll dig mistakes. If it's very nicely, clearly written, then he'll just put a tick mark and go ahead. Is that clear to everybody? So that you learn as an inherent part of my classes. So apart from clarity, it has to be presentation. And then comprehensiveness, of course, like I said, we will be covering the entire syllabus. It's not like we leave out anything, but entire syllabus does not have a definition. It's a competitive exam. Yeah. So if you look at the syllabus, we can put a tick mark, but inside the syllabus, how deep you have to go, that is something that I, with experience, will be telling you that this much you can only do this. It's fine. Don't do any more. In this topic, please go a little deeper because they ask questions which are more conceptual, right? So that hand holding will be doing, I'll be doing. Is that clear? Rajesh, can you repeat the question that you're saying? There are no 2 classes. I just take 1 single batch. So you can't do 2 classes. Also, like I said, every class of mine is happening in 2 shifts, 2.5 hours with me, plus 2.5 hours revision. This revision is not just revision, it includes the PYQs. So all your preparation is happening comprehensively. Every day almost you go back home and do PYQs for me. Okay, and there'll be also worksheets which are there in the booklets. So you have to do those, then we discuss it. So your preparation is becoming comprehensive. It's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. You are actually moving towards being mains ready. Is that clear to everyone? No, Rahul, unfortunately, if you've not done maths after class 12, I don't think this optional is suitable for you. Because my problem is not that I can't teach you, or the problem is not you can't cover it up. My problem is you're also competing with people who have done so much maths that they'll be faster, quicker, more ready to imbibe. And so it becomes a very harrowing experience for you to catch up. So I would advise you strongly against it. If you've not had maths in college, I would advise that don't take it. Clear? Any other question? If there is pending, can you show it to me? You guys, if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Yes, scientific calculator is allowed for the entire paper. In fact, not just allowed. You have to learn it, learn how to use it properly. Watch YouTube videos. Yeah. Yeah, it is any E series of Casio would be fine. So any non-programmable calculator is fine, right? So there are many nowadays in the market, but it should not be programmable. Non-programmable scientific calculator is allowed. Yes. Yeah, that's a question that I have had. See, now, number one, there is no transparency about it. If there had been transparency, you guys are smart enough to Google search it till now. But you want to know my opinion on it, and I'll be very honest. There are two kinds of students I've had to deal with in my last 20, 23 years of career. One is those overconfident types who give the exam, have no idea what they have written. So they come out thinking that I have done it correct, whereas they've made mistakes. So some people say that, no, I was expecting a 200 out of 250, and what I've got is 80 out of 250. Now, that much scaling cannot happen. What is the role of scaling to tell you that? Because maths is very scoring, because you can get full marks in maths, there is some amount of step down they do from the overall marks. They don't do step down in each question. They can't do it. There is, there's a chief examiner. Okay, so there are 4-5 people who are checking one answer sheet. Because your college professor, you from which college? From Delhi University. So a particular college you would like to tell us? Yeah. So you would have your teachers in your department who are doing, say, algebra, ODE, PD. For years they've been doing just that, right? So there are teachers who are kind of fixed on their syllabus. Now, those teachers are invited. They can't check the entire paper because your syllabus is huge. So there are 3-4 examiners who sit together. Each one of them marks it, but there's a chief examiner, because if there is any problem in the question or if there's any ambiguity about it, then they go to him. But having said that, they can't scale down in every question. So from overall, they cut down a few marks. How much is that a few? There is no transparency about it. But yes, there is some amount. So people who are expecting like a 400 end up getting like a 350 or even less, which means in each paper there is a drop down. So if you, for example, out of 250 marks are expecting a 200, then you might just get a 150 actually. Okay, but how does that alter your rank? The answer is it does not alter, because if you're the top ranker, then you're going to still be a top ranker. So the experience of the main students is that if you attempt for about 400 nicely, correctly, and everything, then you can end up getting a 300. That happens towards the end. It does not happen with respect to each question. So my advice is, since there's no clarity about it, we try to maximize the paper. We are not even going to say do 400 marks. We are going to advise you to do as much as possible, but it boils down to 1 or 2 questions of some parts we don't know nicely. For example, what happens usually is question number 3. I'm just taking an example. It's on question number 3. I know A part, which is a 15 marker. I know B part, which is a 20 marker. I know them very nicely and completely, but this 15 marker I'm not very sure of. So there is a question mark. So either I will leave, or I'll be sharing some tools with you as to how, if it was a proof, what could you have done? If it is a question, what could you try? At least try something. But if it has a topic called asymptotes and you've never done it, suppose, then you can't do anything about it. You can't sit and think. So then you are only attempting that much amount of question. So roughly about 30 marks of paper, one is not able to attempt on an average. Some 10 marker here we don't know, some 15 marker here we don't know. That is nothing to be scared of. It is a competition exam, remember? Your target is to get a 300 out of 500. Just that. Which means that you have the liberty to leave out one out. In humanities, we advise in GS, for example, when my students ask, ma'am, GS paper, what should we do? Should we try to complete or should we try to write nicely? My answer is complete the paper for sure. Write nicely, of course, but complete. Because whatever you write, at least you'll get 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark in that particular question. Maths, it's not like that, right? So instead of writing some nonsense, when you don't know asymptotes, if someone doesn't know, they don't know. You don't know, then you leave it. No? So leave 10 marks. But remaining questions, you do so well that you get like a 10 on 10, 20 on 20, 15 on 15. And so Honestly speaking, to answer your question, my suggestion, my advice is to not think about it too much and try to just excel in your paper. If you're in the top 10%, then you're clearing it. With what marks also, it doesn't matter, because maths is going to be one of the top scorers for sure. In fact, have I answered your question? I haven't lied to you about it, but it's also something that there is no clarity 100%. But I would, like when I look at the answers and they're all balanced, huh? तो कोई किसी में अच्छा होता है, कोई किसी में अच्छा होता है, पूरा overall paper एकदम everything is your strength होता नहीं है. So during this 7 months, we also realize what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are. We work on the weaknesses, but we also realize when choice is given, we will work on our strengths. So I will help you identify what your strong areas are and what your weak areas are and how to overcome those challenges. Okay. So like I said, I don't know whose question is this. Can you scroll down a bit? Vajiram booklets are more than enough because they're not Vajiram booklets as such. They are my handwritten booklets, which are updated every single year. Sometimes in between the year also. Sometimes I give you handouts which are additional. So they are more than enough because I don't want my students to be overwhelmed with so many books. You can go back and check Vajiram's website. I have uploaded the book list that I follow. But I don't follow one book list. These notes, I can promise you, are not copied from any book, because they are what I would write if I were you. Copying from the book, then I would might as well tell you which book it is. Please go and buy it. It's work is over. So I have referred to at least 3 to 4 books before making these notes. So they're more than enough. If you sometimes require books, for example, Rai Singhania is a book that I say that you don't buy it today, don't buy it right now. Even my students who are doing OD are not interested in it because they are saying, ma'am, when aapke booklets karke we are able to do all the PYQs, why do we need the, you understand, need hogi to books kharidoge na. You come and personally tell me, ma'am, I'm finding a little bit gap in the booklets and PYQs. Can you suggest a book? Then I can, depending on what your query is, suggest a book. किसी को application books अच्छी लगती है, किसी को conceptual book चाहिए, किसी को कुछ. So for each one of you, there is not a one correct answer. If you come to me personally and talk to me, then listening to your problem, I can suggest a different kind of a book. So I can suggest books. But do you want to buy for every topic one book, two, three books? And then I say, okay, please study all this, exam ho jayega. Where is the time to do all that? So I have taken a very informed decision about what has to be going in my booklet. So it's a very, very, very carefully crafted books. They are not random. They are not Delhi University, where I have taught for so many years. They're not my Delhi University notes, for example. They are the UPSC notes. You will find a lot of PYQs and you will find a lot of similarities between your. Is that clear? No, it's a graduation level. You don't need postgrad. It depends on university though. Complex analysis, for example, I studied in IIT. You guys now study in college level. Delhi University has complex analysis now, but this is undergraduate level. So paper, honestly, you ask me, ma'am, are the papers tough? Should I tell you something? The papers are not tough at all. Papers are not tough at all. They're very balanced. Medium, average questions. Not one question which is a very smart, my God kind of a question. But then what is the problem? The problem is humongous in the sense of variety. एक जगह पे आपको थियोरम का प्रूफ सोचना है और एक जगह पे कोई इंटीग्रेशन का फॉर्मूला, फिर उसके नेक्स्ट मिनट में आप मेट्रिसेस के बारे में कुछ सोच रहे हो. कॉलेज में व्हेन यू वर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर योर मैथ्स पेपर्स अलग अलग हो जाते थे ना. दिस इज मैथ्स बेस्ड ऑन दिस. फिर एक सेमेस्टर किया, भूल गए, चलो कोई बात नहीं, नेक्स्ट ईयर थोड़ा रिविजन. हियर यू हैव टू नो एवरीथिंग टुगेदर. Even that is not a problem. Problem is also when finally exams will come, you will be doing a lot of GS, essay, and then you will come with your optional. So that's why it becomes overwhelming. Honestly, just as a syllabus, if you ask me, it's not, the paper is not difficult. So it's not, some people ask me, is it JE level kind of way? Even though JE, no, absolutely not. I mean, if that was the kind of maths I liked, I would have been teaching JE students. I love this maths because it's a very healthy combination of concept and nice calculations. Not rocket science, use this shortcut, use that shortcut kind of a thing. No, nothing. It is very, very balanced. Believe me when I say that the syllabus is very balanced, it's very interesting, including the physics topics actually, because you see how the applications of maths are in real life, you know, so it's quite interesting. Anybody else has any doubt here? No, if it's been a break, that's okay. If you've studied it in college and you've had 1 year break or something, you can come back to it. Because it's like riding a cycle. You won't have ridden one in quite some time. But if I ask you to ride it, it wouldn't be like you don't know what to do. So maths is like that. It'll come back to you. Even if there's been some break, you can come back to it. Rajesh, what's your question? Have the PYQs been mentioned where? In the booklets? See, now, like I said, there are PYQs and FYQs. So previous year question papers, you can get a compilation of it from anywhere in the market also today. Do you really want to just do previous year question papers? We can have a separate batch for that. Do you want to learn the subject? That's what we're going to do here. Learning the subject will help you to do the PYQs and also prepare you for future year questions. And that's the only way you can actually do well in this exam. Okay. Yes, solutions are obviously, so whatever questions I have, the solutions are also written here. Plus, like I said, it's not the solutions for which you sort of are coming here, for the concepts that you're coming here. What should one, major don'ts, don't take any topic for granted. Yeah. You, like even when I do ODPD, I do conceptual ODPD. So don't skip don't skip the steps and just think that, oh, now it can be done. You have to learn how to write it completely till the end, because sometimes integration itself becomes quite harrowing. So how 1 minus v square or plus square or something. So you have to learn. That's why in the class, when I sometimes give a question and you have reached till here and then everybody seems to have done, because I have to take the class collectively, then I tell you to stop. Stop means go back home, leave this much space, come back and now complete it. The major don't is when you don't go back home and revise. Coming for the class is not enough. Coming for the class and doing my work is what is required. Don't you ever think whatever we are doing in the class is going to be enough. You have to go back home, revise it. A 2.5-hour lecture can easily be revised in about 1 hour when you go back home, because there's a lot of repetition, there's a lot of concepts and practice and everything. And then 1.5 hours, you either do my assignments, which are a lot in my booklets, or you do the PYQs. The happiness you get when you can go back and do PYQs in one single day is amazing. I mean, that does not happen with a lot of subjects. It happens with maths. And it's going to be really amazing to see, oh, today, whatever ma'am has taught, short in the exam, 15 marks is coming from here. Isn't that quite nice? You're not very happy. You want to make that 150 marks? You can't do that. Yeah. All right. Coming to tests during the classes, yes, there'll be about 2 to 3 class tests that will happen during the program. This will include physics test when the physics modules happen. So for physics, I'll have more tests for you, because there's another faculty and he's involved only with physics. So, paper 1, he can have 2 tests. Because see, I'm supervising, so I want you to really do well in the physics portion. You'll have 4 tests of physics, and for maths, you can have about 2 class tests, okay? Not more than that. Also, there is a test series program which happens next year, but if you guys clear prelims next year, then you can come and meet me, because then I can sort of make you join the test series program. Because the point is not that you have to pay again and again and again. Of course, test series is a separate, because it's 22 tests, I mean, that amount of tests people to write also need patience and time and everything. But you can come and meet me once you're enrolled, once you are there, you'll know what when I say that my objective is not that you should join this also, that also. I want you to join this and be content that my maths is done, like that, So, yeah, can you? Sorry, there's some CSAT question I saw. Anjali, maths and CSAT actually have no overlap at all. I don't know if you know, but I take the verbal reasoning classes for CSAT. Verbal reasoning, not the maths. And that's because that maths is very different from the kind of syllabus you have. That maths is more like arithmetic. So CSAT maths has nothing to do with maths optional. So I can't really say whether it will help you, not help you. Logical abilities, of course, go up, like a lot of symbolic logic we do in the class also. That definitely helps you, okay? Can you scroll down? Shreya's doubt, can I see? Shreya's doubt, yes. Wait, I can't read so fast. Wait. As a maths graduate, pure maths, applied fluid dynamics. Absolutely. Now let me tell you, there are 2 kinds of students I have in my class. Engineers, non-engineers. Engineers, please raise your hands. Non-engineers, raise your hands. Yeah, put your hands down. Now you can see there's about a 50-50 divide, and it's not about 50-50. I'm telling you, everyone here comes with a baggage or a trauma of maths, like somebody knows something but don't know something else. Like for example, engineers, have you done a lot of modern algebra, ring theory, group theory? Have you all done all this? No. Honors people would not have done so much of, like they would have done ODPD, but not to the extent that people would have done here. So it doesn't matter to me, because when I take a class, it is a, I don't take it any, I don't say that this you must have done in college. I might end up saying that you must have done this in school, because I feel पढ़ाई तो school तक ही हुई थी, उसके बाद तो college happened. And nothing really happened in college. I mean, whether it's a 3-year program or a 4-year program from any university. I've taught in Delhi University. I am from IIT Delhi. I know both the places very well. Okay, तो जितनी तुमने पढ़ाई करी है वो तुम्हें भी पता होगी, है ना, एग्जाम से जस्ट पहले, और फिर अगले दिन भूल जाओ, और फिर इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस एंड राइट. तो यहाँ पे ये सब नहीं चलेगा. यहाँ पे तो इसीलिए मैं, आई अज्यूम यू डोंट नो एनीथिंग इन दैट टॉपिक. यू आर माई, जब मैं कोई टॉपिक पढ़ा रही होती हूँ, यू कैन आस्क माई स्टूडेंट्स. I sometimes end up saying you are looking like my first year. First year का जो topic है वो first year के बच्चों के, they start looking like first years to me then. If it's a third year topic, then I tell them you look like my third years now. Because I've taught in college so often, I feel this is also like a closed school or college kind of a thing. So whether you are from honors or you're from engineering background, you have to put aside your fear of either modern algebra or fluid dynamics. I don't know how I'll do fluid. I know pure maths. For me, there is no pure math. If there is a pure maths, then there is an impure maths also, na? For me, maths is not impure. So pure and applied kuch nahi hota hai. I will show you how pure maths can be done in a very application kind of a way, and how applied maths is actually concept based. So it is pure in that sense. So I don't differentiate between maths. Number one, I don't differentiate between maths as pure and applied. Number two, I don't differentiate in maths depending on paper one is this and paper two is this. I do maths the way maths has to be done. This is not a university curriculum, so we don't have to follow a fixed order. So you follow the order that I suggest. And believe me, it is the best. Because you learn how maths is not to be demarcated into ये applied है और ये pure है. सब कुछ applied भी है. जब application questions आएंगे तो application हो गया, calculation हो गया. और अगर उसी का concept भी आया है बीच में, तो फिर वो pure हो गया. तो there is no way that we should. Anjali, like I said, there's a book list that has been uploaded and it has Gallian. But honestly speaking, a new student who picks up Gallian will not understand anything from it. Okay. And you know, when I was just coming out of my car today, I was just thinking about what this is. Impromptu, depends really on what you ask me. But I was just thinking, looking at the size of my 2 booklets I'm carrying today. Like I showed you, this one is my modern algebra booklet. Okay. Why am I showing it to you? Because modern algebra booklets has, I'll look at the last page, has 265 pages. From Gallian, if you see, there are only 70 pages of this. 70 pages of Gallian is 265 pages. That means I've elaborated everything that Gallian is talking about and made it such a thick book. It's quite thick. Is it looking thick enough? Or should I throw it at you and then you'll realize it's thick? Yeah, smile a bit. You guys are making it sound as I'm doing some rocket science. This is ODE booklet. Like I said, 130 pages. You know how thick Rai Singhania is? Have you seen Rai Singhania? Please torture yourself by looking at it. It's this thick, and I'm not exaggerating. It's really this thick, about 700, 800 pages. So whatever is already given in a very elaborated manner, you just needed someone to comprise it for you. Whatever is given in a very comprised manner, I have elaborated and explained it to you. So you actually don't need books. If you're really keen, you can go buy the books, but you will not understand a word of Gallian. The first time I read Gallian, it took me 6 months to go past 3 chapters. It did, honestly speaking. Before Gallian, I used to follow a book called Herstein for Modern Algebra. Even more difficult to follow. Then there is Fredberg for Linear Algebra. Problem is not the books. I can suggest you 10 books. But you don't have to. Do you want to read the books actually? Because it seems as though people are very interested in books. I can suggest you 100 books per topic. That's a bit exaggerated. 3 books per topic I can suggest. Do you want to buy 39 books today and say, okay, now my preparation is on the... No. You'll have to at most buy 1 or 2 books. For each one of them, it could be separate. Some people in linear algebra buy a book called Schwarm series or look at it online because they think they need more practice about small questions. Gallian, nobody buys. Believe me, you don't want to buy Gallian for sure. It's a good book, but it's a good book for teachers. It's not a good book for students. Everything he says can be done, will be done, obviously, clearly, and so it's not very clear. Okay. Rai Singhania is a book that I expect people to have, but not even during the classes. Once your curriculum is done and your mains ready, if you're clearing prelims, not clearing, everything depends on what is happening. If you're clearing prelims and you have 3 months to do everything, you don't have time to do the book. If you're not clearing prelims next year, then you have 1 whole year to now again prepare. That is the time when you actually sit down and do more value addition to your preparation, which again I will guide you. Like it's you come and meet me and we'll do it together. It's not like something that you have to separately come and join or anything. Is that clear to everyone? Can you join? Can you scroll down this? Yeah. Wait. Would okay if I follow your notes only and then join this? Okay, so to be very honest, these notes may be available in the market, which is quite unfortunate because these are not for selling. But even if they are available, number one, I update my notes for every year, so there may be many changes. Number two, there may be sometimes what happens, the solution is rewritten completely. Sometimes a page here or there is missing, which when in a class I can announce. Number two, these notes are only 50%. 50% means 50% I have written them, so only I can explain the code to you. Na? It is like, I'm not saying they're written in a coded manner, but they're written the way I want you to understand. So obviously, I'm not going to say that notes are enough. If notes were enough, I would also just be selling the notes. No, what is the point of talking so much if notes were enough? The point. So I cannot joining classes. I mean, I wish I could say that more humbly. I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little this thing, but there is no substitute to joining classes of someone who's made the notes. Notes to mil jayenge tumhe kahin na kahin se. You can beg, borrow, steal, whatever, buy, whatever. But the point is that you have to also learn the art of writing a new question on your own. How will that happen? That is only here. And so that cannot be even, I can't even do it in a short manner. I today was thinking I'll teach you some topic. Believe me, the whole day I've been thinking I'll teach you something. But what I can teach, which will show you what the teaching can be like. It's such a vast syllabus in that sense. If I do one differential equation question, will that help you? No, you will only have to learn how to do every topic in a very systematic sort of a manner. Is that clear? Can you scroll down and see if there are any more questions? If there's any question that's left unanswered, can you please ask again? Scroll down, जो latest होंगे ना नीचे. अभी जो latest आए होंगे. You guys, do you have any questions? Any more questions? Anyone? Come on, one question per person तो बनता है. Yes. हाँ. Yes. Yeah. But why would you not know? Suppose, then you can't do anything about it. Then you have to leave that question. Because if they say, for example, today we were doing a question which said, solve it by variation of parameters. People can do it without variation of parameters also, but you will not be granted any marks. Then you can do any method. Yes, absolutely. And in that we'll be discussing, you can do any method, but in that we'll be discussing why should you do the method that I'm asking you to do. Out of the 4-5 methods, we'll also end up discussing in the class why this is the best. In fact, you know, in differential equations, LPP and all, I don't do hundreds of questions. I do one question in 10 different ways. एक ही question, पर उसको 10 अलग-अलग तरीकों से करो. उससे क्या होता है ना, the comparison is very clear. Oh, that's why ma'am likes this method. Oh, that is why this method is not advisable. Because if I give you a lecture on it, to be very honest, if I give you gyan about it, कि नहीं नहीं ये मत करो. Exam may it not strike you, no? You will try to do the way you would like to do. Right? So we also read a lot of answers. Like if I say, for example, look at my presentation and look at what you have done, you know, who the examiner will give more marks and why. If you get into the why of it, na, then you start writing also nicely and everything. Okay? तो पर अगर कुछ नहीं लिखा है तो आप किसी भी मेथड से कर सकते हो. Clear? Online students, does anyone have any doubt? If anyone has any doubt, you could ask me right now. You guys, any other doubt? Yes. Okay. Yes. So there are two things. Either you go to the admin, they'll change your batch to some suitable batch where you can cover up your remaining classes. Because GS classes are, how do you say it, homogeneous. Means it happens the same in all batches. So either they'll adjust your batches. Of course, if there are very few batches, then though I don't prefer, but videos are available. My classes video. That you can also then just watch the video, because my class will be from 7:30 to 10:30. There is no change in that. And the classes happen, should I say it or it'll scare you off? Classes happen 6 to 7 days a week. which means sometimes I don't give you a single off day, because if the topic is going in a very sort of flowy manner, then we study for 10 days continuously and then I give you 2 off days. Sometimes I do that. So the off days really are not fixed, okay? It's not like every Sunday is chutti or every Monday is chutti, depending on the topic. And you have to be attentive, you have to be disciplined, you have to be on time. I don't know, somebody had come late today, and because it's a seminar, workshop, whatever, you can come, but in the morning, and winters is coming up. So I'm already warning you that you have to be very, very punctual, because otherwise the discipline will not come that is required to do well in this. So you have to be very punctual, come 5 minutes before the class. So many students you will see coming from all over. You just force yourself to do it for 2-3 months, it will become your habit only to become more. So the classes will be 6 to 7 days a week. There is no fixed off day, because I have other commitments which are not fixed in that sense. So I keep giving a different off day, which is announced beforehand. There is, like I said, a group also that students have formed. You can obviously, once you enroll, you will join that group, and they're very friendly other students that, because it's like you'll have your batchmates who have already been studying from me for the last 2 months. So that personal talk that you could do with your peers is also very, so they make you very comfortable. I think batch 2 feels a little, oh my God, it's September and all that. Don't worry. Once you get into the groove, you will understand that it's going to take your pressure off. The idea is to have less stress about your optional, not more. So after the foundation course gets over, you are mains ready, right? Of course, you need test series. If in case you, like I said, once a student, forever a student. So if you clear the prelims, you come and talk to me. If you don't clear the prelims, you come and talk to me. Because we need to have different strategy for both these. How can I give generic one answer? It depends on where you are lacking, where you're not lacking, right? So people 3-4 years also, if they've been studying, then they're all still in touch. I mean, it's not like they, so like that. Is that clear? Any other doubt you would have? Anybody else who would have a doubt? Okay, at least answer that in yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, so that I know. Any doubt you have? Anybody? No? Online students, is there any doubt? Okay, so you could, just in case you do have a doubt, you can mail me at this email ID. Even though I have answered almost all questions, but still, if you have anything, you can mail it to me here, or you can come and meet me. Like I said, 7:30 to 10:30, I'm almost every day having a class here. But you can ask the reception people as to when I don't have a class. You can come and meet me also, but the batch is starting end of September. So you please, if you are interested, don't waste your time. In this building, hall number 6, yes, hall number 6. The venue and all keeps shuffling a bit, but most of it is. Yes, we will be starting. So there are 2 options. Now this year, because the prelims had got delayed, and because we had 1 week, no classes also in between because of external reasons, there are 2 things. One, of course, I would love to start with real analysis, but just to give you a sort of a buffer, just to make you help settle down, so as to say, I might also do linear programming problem first, because this is about 6 to 7 classes and sure shot 40 marks in the exam. Real analysis is 50 marks and about 20 classes. So it becomes overwhelming for someone. So I may just do LPP. That I'll take a decision depending on how my other batch is going. Actually, it's not fixed. But you have to do the entire syllabus any which ways. And I promise to do it in fragments, in the sense we do real and calculus right now only towards the beginning. Then your physics classes will begin in October and finish in December. So mid-October it will begin, and December tak your physics has to get over, so that then I can take over again for maths and then complete it. Okay, so it happens in a very timely sort of a manner. But as I told you, that it's a 7-month program. It will stretch for 7 months, starting 27 September to whatever. Clear to everyone? Yeah, so I think I've answered most of the questions. If anyone else has any doubt, latest any doubt anyone has? Yeah. So offline students, do you have any doubt for me? Okay, then can I take your leave? All right, so we stop here, and I hope you take an informed decision. Maths is nothing to be scared of, but it's something worth your time, actually. It's quite an interesting thing. I'll see you soon, hopefully. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.